Hi everybody, this is Kanairai and welcome back to the channel. In the past 2 months I haven't been able to post that often, and I hope come up to December I will be able to post more often and get on a regular schedule with postings. In this video I wanted to talk to you about my experience in Diablo 4. So before I start talking about Diablo 4 specifically, I would like to explain how I play, and there's possibility of many other players and how they play. They may have exactly the same play style as I do. The way that I play is whenever there is an area where the main storyline takes place, I like to complete all of the side quests first. For example, I am playing Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, and whenever there are side quests available along with the main storyline mission, I will complete all the side missions first before I continue with the main storyline missions. And I'd like to sweep the whole area out, get it done, and then go ahead and proceed with the story. That's how I play. Another thing, I will also be limiting this review to a Eternal Realms, all the quests and missions that go along with the main storyline, because I found out there are some missions that are locked behind progression. For example, Fractured Pigs, I still have 5 quests I have not completed yet, but I cannot even see them even though I beat the main storyline. So that's going to be the limit of it. There's going to be no review from the season 1 or season 2. There's just going to be Eternal Realms, everything, all the contents that are in the Realm 2, World Level 2, and everything that includes to beating the capstone dungeon for World Tier 2. When I started the game, I was in the Fractured Peaks, and as I was playing along through the main storyline mission, I was going along with all the side quests. Eventually, I got to the point where I had to move to Skosglen, the second region of the game, but there were still many side quests, dungeons, and statues of Lilith that I wanted to complete. By the time I have gotten to completing everything within Fractured Peaks that I could, I was already level 43, I believe, or low 40 level 40s. One of my main issues with that was that the saturation of mobs, or as they call it, the enemy NPCs. As you go along a certain path to go complete the side quest, you grab something, whatever that the quest wants you to do, and if you go back through the same path, by the time you go back, the enemies that you have already killed have already respawned, and you have to do this over and over and over again. And here's the thing, I'm not sure if Blizzard was trying to make an MMO out of Diablo, but for example, take World of Warcraft. There are places within the regions where there are saturations of enemy mobs, NPC enemies, right? But here's the thing: you can walk around them. You can walk around. You can skirt around them. You cannot do that in Diablo 4. There may be 3 different groups of enemies that are within your screen, and as you pass through, you may attract attention of one of them, and while you fight them, then another one will be joining in. So that just buffs up the amount of time you have to spend traveling from quest to quest, which could lead to Blizzard saying, "Oh, this is a 100-hour game or campaign," but really, in reality, this is just the amount of time you spend killing all those enemies is what buffs up that time. It's not necessarily that the content of the campaign or the story is 100 hours. It is just that you have to spend lots and lots of time going through the enemies in order to get to your quests, and that's just, in my opinion, a big waste of time. So I'm thinking that the gameplay is just gameplay time is hyper inflated. It's not real amount of time you can actually spend getting a story content from it. By the time I finish Fractured Peaks, I have completed every dungeon. got all the statues of Lilith in them, and did all the side quests that I could see. When I was already playing in Closicland, I kind of gave up on completing dungeons because I realized that would be a waste of time if I wanted to focus on the storyline. Along with that, I have only focused on statues of Lilith that I actually found. I wasn't actually going around looking for them because once again, that would be a waste of time in my opinion because I would have to fight through enemy mobs while also having to figure out where they are. By the time I have gotten to Kyrgyzstan, which is second from the last region in the map, I have already been around level 50, and the rate of the legendaries dropping have drastically decreased. By that point, I have pretty much had the best gear that I could have in that world tier, and all I was getting was white, blue, and yellow or gold items, which was basically trash for me at that point. It got fixed in a patch in I think season 2, or it will be getting fixed soon, where they will change instead of the item dropping, they will just be dropping resources, which is I think way better. But while I was playing it, it was just saturation of screen with items that I don't really need. It's just waste of time. Just traveling back, try to crush them or trade them in for money. It's just wasteful. Another thing, by the time I'm in the Kyrgyzstan, I'll have already completed 70% of the campaign, and my skill tree was already pretty much maxed out. The only thing is, I have about 4 more skills to obtain from doing regional reputation, so that is statues of Lilith, side quests, and I think killing just of the mobs. But I can't even get to those because I cannot see the side quests. Also, the dungeons I haven't done. The only dungeons I have done was the ones that the side quests made me go into, which was fine. By that time, I was already just going through the mobs because of the high skill level. However, pretty much maxing out your skill tree, there is no more new skills that they can obtain. Already had my ultimate by that time period, and 30% of the game without any new skills was kind of like, what am I doing here? This is just like going through. So I think they should have made it available to move on to World Tier 3 by that time period, because I was just mowing through the enemy mobs. It wasn't a challenge at that point. Now the issue that I have is that you're getting a horse at the end of the Kyrgyzstan before you move on to Hausa, which is the last region of the game. But the problem is, every other character after that, I was told, does not need to get to that point again. Everybody has a horse after that. So I'm thinking that's just an artificial lock for the progression. I think they should have given the horse right as you're about to head out from the Fractured Peaks, or whenever Lorath heads out from Fractured Peaks, you should have gotten a horse as well, because that would have eliminated you having to travel through mobs all the time, which once again pads up the game time, and makes it frustrating just trying to whenever you're trying to complete a quest, but you have to fight through the same mobs over and over and over again, and then the side quests make you go from this place that place back and forth, and you keep on have to fight all those mobs over and over and over again. If you have gotten a horse right away, you can just run past through the mobs that you don't really want to fight. And if people say that's how you get experience points and whatnot, I think that's just maybe a lazy way of allocating XP, or just making the XP points padded by, oh, you need to kill more and more in order to get the higher level of XP. I think it could have been done better without having to farm experience points. Well, another point of the horse, it makes it feel like you have to rush through the main storyline quest and be at Fracture Peaks by like high level 20s, and or trying to beat Lilith World Tier 2 at level like around 30. If that was the case, I don't think they should have revealed all the side quests right away as you're going through that, and more of like make it a narrow focus for the player to just go ahead and complete the main storyline quests, and get to the horse and or just beat the Lilith sooner by hyper focusing on it and not making dungeons and a bunch of side quests available right away. Open them up after when you go to a world tier 3, because by then it is more challenging and you don't just like rush through the mobs like a hot knife through butter. Well, that just makes me think that it was poor design of the game, because all the previous Diablo games that I played 2, I played 3. Once you complete the area, you get all the XP that you need to get from there. And if you travel through that same area, you don't get respawning mobs all the time. You can hyper focus on completing the story, and you focus on the story and what the story tells you. You don't get sidetracked to do other things. It's more like you can be immersed. What I have experienced through the most of the campaign is that I am focusing on the main storyline, but then I'm getting sidetracked with the mobs and having to do side quests by always dealing with the mobs. So to me, it seemed like the main storyline through the most of the game was unfocused. I think the way that they made the Hauser, most of that area quest is focused on main storyline, and the few other quests they're not as scattered. They're more focused in one area where you also have your side quests going. Except for maybe one, there was one quest with the guy who was entangled in the swamp area and he was infected, and you had to go travel all the way to him and then back and then to him and then back. That was just that's one thing that maybe it made me unfocus on the story missions, because oh great, I have to go back now. I have to travel through the same area once again. By the time I had a horse, so that was easy. Just rush past the mobs, rush past the enemy mobs. But what if I had to keep on fighting them over and over and over again? It's just that quest that was not fun at all. But otherwise, the main storyline quests in that area were pretty enticing, where I made me focus on what the story had to tell me. I didn't spend long time going from one dungeon to another one, and overall, the most of the quests in that area were very interesting and entertaining, especially with the one with the scoundrel that you from Diablo 3, which you meet in one of the fishing villages. That storyline was quite fun and told more about the area. This is just experience from a casual player. I'm not one of the pro players that has completed multiple run throughs through on Eternal and seasonal characters. It took me quite a while to complete the quest, about a few months, 4 or 5 months, because it's what been like almost 6 months since the release of the game. So this is not from top players of the Diablo, and even they have issues with the way the campaign was designed, because by the time they get to like level 75 on the world tier 3 or 4, there is not much for them to do. So I think the whole flow of the game is kind of not very well thought out and could have been done better. It could have been done where you the very first character you play, the main storyline is hyper focused just to try to get through the story and without introducing any other side quests and or dungeons to the player. Because once again, once you get to second, third player after you complete the first capstone dungeon, there's an option to skip the campaign altogether. So I'm just like thinking this is wasteful for on the first character. All the things are kind of redundant at that point because you don't need to do them. And if you want just in players that want to just do get items, grind for items, grind for power, and just optimize the level up of the character, but then I don't think they should have made the main campaign as unfocused, and I believe that they should have made it available for players to move up to higher world tiers without having to do a capstone dungeon. Because if you play the way that I played, by the time you completed everything that is available and get to the capstone dungeon, you will be going through enemies like butter. Because I was fighting, what was that? I don't remember the boss's name in a palace. He was underground. He came out, and before I got to the main palace to reunite with all the other side characters, I was level 57 while that enemy was level 50. That was just like kiting it. It was not challenging at all. Just run away from it, just zap it a few times as a sorcerer, and keep on moving. No challenge at all. And Lilith was not as challenging either, because I think by that time period I should have been at the world tier 3 and been able to fight her at world tier 3 at the higher difficulty, but that was not available because everything is locked down artificially. Anyways, I think I'm gonna stop my rant here. I think it could have been done better. Hopefully Blizzard will do better at the next releases, but who knows. This is it for guys. I'll see you guys next time.